Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Seder Academy. We hope you all are doing okay. Everyone's as safe and healthy as can be. We wanted to welcome you guys and to tell you that a little bit about what we think we're going to do with these daily calls. Last week, we sent out an email about telling people that they could still order our Haggadah. And a number of the responses were really upsetting. People basically saying, what are you talking about? There is no Passover this year. We can't have Passover. And it struck us that that was absolutely not true. And that even under the worst of circumstances, we can have Passover and it can be, we can make it work. And so what we want to do effectively in Tablet is be your research and resources department. We're going to be here to answer any questions you have, any anxieties, any concerns. We just want to help everyone get through this, and you're going to see us help each other get through it. So it's definitely an unusual year, but we think we can all, if we band together, we can try to help each other and make it work. Steph, I know you have some specific feelings.
I have a lot of feelings. So first of all, I'm Stephanie. I'm sure you know us because you either listen to Tablet and read Unorthodox. Is that how words work? I am here representing the anxious child, the fifth child of this Seder. I usually go to my parents' house or my in-laws. I always think it's nice that there's two Seders so I can split it up between my family and my in-laws. I've never hosted a Seder. Even just thinking about not being with my family on Passover, I start tearing up. It's like when I realize it really hits home how different this year is. This year is different than all of the years, right? And to me, there's like the emotional part, and then there's like the practical part, which is like, how am I hosting a Seder? And I think that's what a lot of younger people who don't ever host Seders feel, and who usually like rely on older generations to feed us and to walk us through this experience.
So being the dude with the beard here, I want to say two things. Hi, I'm Leo. I want to say two things that I think need to be said at this stage. The first is that I understand that this is a very stressful moment for many of us, but I don't think we should only look at it as an obligation, something that we are required to do as Jews, but really as an opportunity to take kind of like one island of sanity in the middle of all this crazy, crazy time and do something that celebrates peoplehood, that celebrates resilience, that celebrates beating not one, but this many plagues, and really find kind of new meaning and new uplifting spirit in it. And the second thing I want to say is that this is another name for this holiday is Chag HaChirut, the holiday of liberty and freedom. This is a holiday of freedom from stress, especially this year. If any of you are feeling some kind of need, especially those of you who have never done it before, to say like, oh, this has to be kind of like Julia Child perfect. We need to kind of like make chicken stock from like bones, and where are we going to find all the ingredients? There are some religious obligations. They're few, far between, and kind of delicious. The rest is completely up to you. It's completely fine to order these things in. It's completely fine to decide that instead of a brisket, you're just going to have a matzah with, I don't know, peanut butter. We're good. Everyone just relax.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We want you guys to start asking us questions throughout the course of both this first call and then also every successive call. You guys send us questions. The ones that we can answer right off the bat, because we may know them, we will. Any other questions we're going to take and research for you. And then we'll come back tomorrow with answers specifically to you. So when you're asking questions, give us as much information as possible. So for example, if you have a question about how to source kosher for Passover liquor, it may help us if you told us what state you're in, because different states have different options and different ways of ordering, particularly online, and obviously now. One question that we already know we got, which we got, I think, in the Facebook group for Unorthodox, was about how to source shank bones, especially if you don't live in a big city that has a lot of kosher food options. And we already have an answer for you, which is that our friends at Whole Foods have a huge inventory of shank bones ready to be sent out into the world to everyone in America, actually. And they can send it anywhere in the US. They FedEx it to you. You have to order by April 2nd. And the one thing I would say is that I would do a full order from them to get all your kosher meat in one fell swoop. But if you just order a shank bone from them, they have already told us that they will retroactively credit your account so you don't pay for the cooler or any of the shipping costs. So don't worry about that. So anyway, so that's where we're at.
That their meat is supremely delicious.
Great.
So can I start with a question of basically like, what do we need? Like, if we're thinking about gathering things and we're only going to the grocery like once every few days, once a week, well, what are the basics? Can we start with the Seder plate? Like what's on it and what we can replace it with?
So what I'm doing right now today is, and I'm sort of curious about where Liel is at, but what I've done is I'm a list maker. And so I've started making lists of the things that I need and the things that I need, like the materials, like dry goods materials, then stuff I need that's like food that I want to order. So the things that you're going to need, all of which can be made by you. You can make your own Seder plate. You can make your own pillow, which is actually kind of a really fun, I think, craft thing for those of you with kids at home and we're bouncing off the walls like I have. You can actually also do your own afikomen basket. There's Kiddush cup. You can use a regular cup. Like all this stuff is stuff that you can make as special or as customized as you want, but that's what you need. Then in terms of food, I would get a little closer. I think we'll probably end up talking about lists for food starting maybe Friday or next week. Unless Liel thinks that people should start to think about their food now.
I mean, I think it never hurts. Look, obviously the people who are going to be around your Seder table are the people who are in your house right now. No one's inviting anyone. No one's traveling anywhere. And so I think the key part is figuring out what is it that you want to eat and then making a short list of ingredients. It doesn't have to happen right away. It could happen in the next, 3-4 days. I would start, if I'm thinking this, I would start with the things that are harder to get, which is usually the meat, which is why, Whole Foods needs your order by the 2nd. You may have a local butcher. They too may need, I got mine from Fisher Brothers in New York. They need a few days to source your order. I think you should start with that, figure out what it is that you need that's going to be hardest to get. And then slowly kind of put together the rest of the list. And the list should really kind of be basic because we're all going to have small Seders this year, right? So the list, I think, should be, maybe a traditional chicken soup or some kind of appetizer thing, maybe one meat dish, or if you're a vegetarian or vegan, kind of alternative to that, maybe a side dish and some kind of dessert. And I cannot say this enough. Buying ready-made stuff is fine. Going to a catering service is fine. Just having macaroons on the table is 100% okay.
So, one person just asked a question that's relevant to this, which is, can we share any existing to-do lists? And there may be and we're going to try to figure this out. Maybe there's a way for us to almost say, like, to almost have like 3 speeds on the list, where these are the things that you're definitely going to want some version of. These are the things that if you want to get a little fancier, you could add in. And this is the thing that if you really want to be ambitious about it, you can do. So maybe we'll think about that and try to circle back tomorrow with some ways of understanding it and potentially putting together some lists for people.
So there are 2 questions, Alana, about Zoom. One, Fred Apple asks, assuming all Seder participants are in touch via Zoom, how important is it for everyone who's not speaking to mute themselves? And Brian Feld asks, will you be talking about ways to host an online Seder? How do you do this via Zoom? Do you want to share the idea that you had to close it?
Can I just say that there is a chance that if we all do Seder by Zoom and we can mute everyone, that we're never going to want to do Seder any other way. But anyway, sorry, Liel, you can answer the question.
Yeah.
Well,
more technical.
I have to say,
mute.
Well, so I'm unmuting myself. I'm emotionally unmuting myself. It's funny, we've all been doing a lot of Zoom calls these days. I imagine a lot of our meetings are now conducted over Zoom, and it's hard. You see the three of us, we're used to interrupting each other. We are like letting each other finish because we know it's not a normal conversation, right? I have to stop and then Leo has to like start up. So I think there will be some hiccups.
So hard.
There'll be some hiccups along the way, and there's different things. Like right now on Zoom, we're doing it as a webinar, which means that you guys are here, but we can't see you, and then no one can speak. That's obviously not how you want to do a Seder with your family. I mean, it might be if there was a big virtual Seder that hundreds of people were part of, that was through an institution or something like that, that might be like that. But what is most likely going to happen is there's like 8 or 10 different little pictures on the screen, and everyone's going to talk. I think muting people is just, I don't know how much your family talks, but I think, you sort of have to let it flow, and you don't want it to seem too forced. I mean, there already is an awkwardness and like a one step removed of doing this virtually as it is. So I worry that muting people and then having to like formally give them, you see this thing, you can like raise your hand on the Zoom function. I don't think you want to do that. I think you want to veer towards informality where you can, just because this is already so weirdly formal to be on screen separated from each other. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to work towards sort of like best practices for Seders by Zoom. I mean, someone needs to be the leader, but someone also, we have a fourth person on here. This is Josh. He's like manning the technical side of things, which is its own job, particularly when we have it.
Hi, Josh. Sandra, there are a couple of people who have specific questions about Zoom, but Sandra actually put a fine point on it, which maybe we'll do in real detail tomorrow, which is like, maybe we will put together how to host a Zoom Seder, like, 10 rules or 10 rules/tips for how to host a Zoom Seder. And we'll start tomorrow's call with that. So hopefully that can answer some people's questions. We'll answer the thing about how to mute people. I also think we have to address the fact that some people are going to be having 4 people on a Zoom call and some people are going to be having 30. And so we'll try our best to come up with some tips and help you guys. Somebody else also here asked, Carol asks, what about Haggadahs and whether or not there are online Haggadahs that people can use if they can't get their Haggadahs. So a couple of things. One is, if you would like to get tablets Haggadah, we can still ship them. I know that Amazon is having delays with stuff and other places are having them. We have our own personal stash that I am literally personally delivering from my—
You're in Alana's house.
I'm in the fulfillment department of the Tablet Haggadah book.
It's like Santa's Passover workshop in there.
Right. So if you guys want to, we will send out a link where you can still order our book and then everybody can work with the same book. That said, if we get past the point where you can order the hard book, we are also working out a way to get a PDF that people can download. It's not ready yet because it's not the kind of thing we were expecting to have to produce. But as soon as it is ready, we'll make sure to get you the links to that. So maybe that helps.
And we could talk about this more tomorrow, but Janet asks about Zoom versus FaceTime. I have not been particularly happy with FaceTimes this week because, I'm sorry, with like a Google Hangout, which is, I think it's just so overloaded that the system doesn't work. It's been really, really buggy. So Zoom has been good. And if you don't even need to do a paid account, you can do a free account and they're waiving the 40-minute, usually like it's, you can't go over 40 minutes, but now because so many people are doing them, yes?
I was just going to say, from a technological perspective, Zoom is better because it's on every platform. You don't have to tell Uncle Morty, who only has a PC from 23 years ago, to get something else. Like Zoom, the reason Zoom has exploded is because it actually, for better or worse, works on every platform.
Right.
And the thing about FaceTime, which was the question, not everyone's phones can do like multiple FaceTimes. Like, so so Zoom just is the easiest. And if you're on a desktop, we'll talk about this tomorrow. If you're on a desktop, you don't need to download anything. Though I guess you're not on a desktop if you're at the Seder. We'll figure this out. We'll talk about this tomorrow.
So a bunch of you also have pretty good advice here that we will kind of incorporate into our document and share tomorrow. Also, one of you is asking, What are your logistical suggestions for reading, group singing, etc. for those of us who haven't done it? We will continue to cover it. Also, we will have an episode of Unorthodox coming next week in which Stephanie and Alana and myself and Mark and a bunch of us will basically kind of lead a theoretical model Seder, which hopefully will give some kind of advice in that department. Alana, do you want to conclude with the Zoom Seder Charoset idea?
Yeah, so basically my whole thing is I don't, there were a bunch of people who asked us, how am I going to cook? How are we going to actually, one of the things that's so meaningful about Passover is everyone sharing the same actual meal. And that is a challenge this year. But one of the things that I would suggest is, and it could be a kind of fun way to start preparing people and getting people engaged, is I would pick one food to share, basically, and for everyone to make together the day before. You can have a sort of Zoom, a pre-Seder Zoom, where everyone makes either, and pick it, chicken soup, the main dish, if it's particular, if you have a dish that your grandmother always made. I think that charoset is a great thing to make all together. And then just have there be at least one food that you guys, when you finally get to the Seder,
there was a request to see him.
Okay, there was a request.
No, I think that's right, Alana. And also, in the event that I don't get kicked out of the Zoom right now, sorry, hold on. Do a practice Zoom for cooking. That way, that's like a way to troubleshoot everyone. You make sure grandma has it on her iPad. Like you can sort of make sure everyone is up to date on Zoom and can access a call and use the meeting number. So that's actually a really good way of testing.
Yeah, the one last thing I want to say before we go is that there are a lot of you making some really great suggestions and with questions. Just because we didn't get to them today does not mean we're not getting to them. What we're going to do is we're going to take this this chat and we're going to put it together, create a bunch of resources for tomorrow's call, and then be able to get them back to you. So don't worry if we haven't exactly answered you yet.
We're going to get through this together.
Erev Zu Pesach, as David says. Thank you so much.
Friends, we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for
joining.
Bye,
guys. Thank you.